If you have been watching this type of video on YouTube for the past couple of days, you would have been seeing a lot of videos about how to monetize the upcoming World Cup tournament. Not just my videos, but tons of videos from other creators too. But I'm not sure if anyone ever sits down to explain why most football channels will die after the 2026 World Cup. And today, that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm also going to show you exactly what separates the channels that will collapse after the tournament from the channels that will keep growing long after the World Cup tournament. My name is Tberry, and on this channel, I teach creators how to build and monetize YouTube channel for both face creators and faceless content creators with the use of AI and smart content strategy. And if you have already watched my previous series on this topic, these two videos, by the time this video ends, you are going to realize that you are already ahead of almost everyone who hopped on this trend. So stay with me. The wave is real but temporary. Let me start with the truth that most creators in this space are not telling you. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is genuinely the biggest content opportunity on YouTube right now, as a lot of search terms about the World Cup tournament will be going on, and as a result of that, the algorithm will also start pushing football content to millions of viewers. For example, my own videos on this topic, like the last one I posted, I've done over 40,000 views in the last couple of days. So yes, the wave is very much real, and I have seen it with my own eyes. But what nobody is talking about is that every single waves will surely end. And when this one ends, most of the channels that were built purely to ride this wave will collapse almost overnight. It is not going to be because football stops being popular. No, football never stops being popular. But because of three very specific mistakes that most creators are making right now. And I want to walk you through all these three, and also to show you exactly how to avoid every single one of them. First mistake, which is the mistake number one on my list: building a tournament channel instead of building a football channel. This first mistake is the most common one. There is a massive difference between a channel built around a 4-week tournament and a channel built around the sport of football itself. Football is the most watched sport on the planet, with over 3.5 billion people watching this game, from the Premier League, La Liga, Champions League, AFCON, Copa America. These competitions, they run all year round. There is always a match, always a transfer story, always a viral moment happening in football world every single week. And the creators who will still be growing in December 2026 are the ones who understood from day one that the World Cup was their entry point into the football content, not the finish line. Now, here is the good news. For those of you who have been following my series from part 1, I have specifically broke down 5 football content angles that works all year round, not just during the World Cup. So if you build your channel around those angles, you are already set up to keep growing long after the tournament ends. You did not build a tournament channel. You built a football channel that launched during the World Cup. That is a completely different thing. And that distinction is going to matter in August when most other channels start dying. Then the second mistake, which is number 2 on my list: borrowing an audience instead of building them. You see, this second mistake is the one that hurts the most. When YouTube pushes your content during a major event like this World Cup, it is not necessarily because your channel is already strong. Sometimes it is simply because the topic is trending. The algorithm is lending you a temporary audience, and the creators who survive are the ones who take that borrowed audience and convert them into loyal subscribers. People who came back not just for the football content, but because they trust the person behind the channel. And this is where I want to be very direct with you. If you spent the last 2 weeks posting football content and you never for once gave your audience a reason to trust your perspective, your opinion, your analysis, your unique take on the game, then the World Cup traffic will come and it will go, and it will leave very little behind. That is why I have showed you in the masterclass how to actually come up with a legit analysis or commentary on your video by brainstorming with Claude AI to be your content assistant. By doing so, you will be adding real life value to your content instead of just a generic football video. You will be creating a valuable content. By doing so, you will see more genuine viewers who will actually care about what your channel has to offer by the next time they stumble upon your content. And if you have been showing up consistently, engaging with your comments, building a relationship with your audience, then every view you are getting right now is being converted into something that compounds over time. In the last masterclass, I talked about the importance of adding your voice and your story to every single video you create. And if you can't do that, I showed you how to create a real life value by adding voiceover and real life narration to every single video you create. That is not just a creative choice, that is a survival strategy, because the channel with a real personality behind them are the ones that retain subscribers after the tournament ends. And retention is what tells YouTube to keep pushing your content even when the World Cup is over. And the third one, which is number 3 on my list, no plan beyond the tournament. You see, this third one is the one that will quietly kill most channels. Here is what the data consistently shows about YouTube channels. Channels that post consistently for at least 90 days after a major traffic event are the ones that retain their growth and keep climbing. Most creators will post heavily during the World Cup to get a spike in views and then slow down or disappear completely when the tournament ends, because they simply have no content plan beyond the event. And as we all know, YouTube reward consistency above almost everything else. A channel that posts 2 quality videos every single week for 6 months will always outperform a channel that posts 20 videos in 4 weeks and then goes quiet. So right now, before the tournament even begins, you need to ask yourself one question: what am I posting in August? If you have an answer to that question, you are already in the top 10% of creators who started a football channel this month. Most people have not thought that far ahead. They are focused entirely on the next 4 weeks. And that short-term thinking is exactly what will cost them everything they have built during the FIFA World Cup. And the good news is that the editing workflow I taught in my Part 2 masterclass, from finding clips to transforming them properly, adding voiceover and story, that workflow, it works for any football content at any time of the year. It is not a World Cup workflow. It is a football content workflow that happens to be perfectly timed for the World Cup right now. And that is what makes it sustainable. The 3 things surviving channels we have in common. So let me bring this all together. When the dust finally settles after July 19, 2026, the channel that are still growing, we have 3 things in common. First thing, they picked a football sub-niche they can sustain all year. Transfer news, player career story, tactical breakdowns, football finance, and so on. Like evergreen topics that have audiences searching for them every single day, regardless of what tournament is happening. Secondly, they showed up as a personality, not just a content machine. People subscribe to people. Your opinion, your energy, your perspective on the game, that is what makes someone come back over and over again to your channel. Then third, they had a system. Not just a video idea, but an actual repeatable workflow. How to find clips, how to edit efficiently, how to optimize for search, how to post consistently without burning out. A system is what separates a YouTube hobby from a YouTube business. And if you have already watched my Part 1 and Part 2 videos, you already have all 3 of these things. You have the niche angle, you have the workflow, and it is very obvious that you are clearly showing up because you are still here watching this right now. Here is what I want you to take away from this video. The World Cup window is closing fast, but the football content opportunity, if you build it the right way, the window never closes. The creators who will still be here in 2027 are not the ones who got most views during this tournament. They are the ones who use the tournament to build something real, a real audience, a real system, a real channel with a real person behind it. And if you have not yet watched Part 1 and Part 2 of this series, I have put the link to both videos under the description. Part 1 covers the full opportunity and content strategy. Part 2 is a complete 55-minute step-by-step masterclass that walks you through the entire workflow, from finding clips to uploading your first football content. Everything you need to be one of the channels that survives and thrives after the World Cup is already in those 2 videos. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and do well to subscribe to this channel. A small masterclass will be dropping soon. What are your questions? Drop them in the comment section. As you all know, I reply to my comment a lot. I will be answering your questions in real time. See you in the next one. I'm Tberry AI. Let's grow together.